Okay, guys, good afternoon, guys. How is everybody, and how is your day also going? Happy weekend to you all. Happy Saturday to you all. How is Saturday over there? Okay, guys, good afternoon, guys. Happy Saturday. Happy. Okay, I think we are live now. Let's wait for others to join. I can see we're just two here for now. So let's wait for others to join before we kickstart. Let's just wait for like three for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Let's just wait. Let's see if others will join us. Okay. Um I'm still here. If you can hear me, I would love you to drop a comment. Just drop a comment if you can hear me. Yeah, good afternoon. That's the first one today is Baker. Okay. We're now seven. We should have, I think we've waited enough. Okay, great you can hear me. Great you can hear me. Chamaka, good afternoon. Juliet, good afternoon. Chichi, good afternoon. You can't see Becca. Andrew, okay. Yeah, Becca, I can hear you but can't see your screen. Can you guys see my screen now? I would like to know, can you see my screen now? Oroluwa, good afternoon. Okay, guide. Thank you that you can see my screen. Yeah, okay, great. I feel you guys can see my screen. You can hear, okay? Okay, so let's just kickstart. Let's kickstart the meeting or the class, either ways. So, how is your weekend going? How is it over? How is it in your side? How are you? I hope everybody's enjoying their weekends in one way or the other. Even though I know there are a lot of the people might have a lot of activities and it's always very choked. So I know it's sometimes it's not as easy as it might be. It's always difficult at some point when you're trying to like learn something and also have your maybe a balance. It's just like a shift. While you are growing up, at a point of time where you actually fall sick. So you are trying to adjust to it. You're adjusting to the new shape, probably your body or something. So you're adjusting. So so I think in this call we have it 2 hours. So I would love us in that 2 hours to be productive, and us being productive mean we don't have to like do something. And also next week there's no week six tax, as you can now see. You see that there's no tax that are giving you to actually build something week six. And hopefully I want us to use that week six to like do revision, revise, just like a break, a one not 1 week break actually, but it's just a break that you should just try your best in learn more. Don't rush yourself. Get all of your time, practice whatever you want to practice, watch the tutorial you want to watch, and just keep practicing. Try your best and keep practicing. And I think with that you'll be good and you'll be better if you can keep to that. So since I want all of us to keep to that, in our today's class, I know that in the previous class I promised us we are going to go through what is it called, bits, of which we did. We were able to practice Git in our last class. That was on Sunday. Then on Thursday too, we did partially. But I already said this week's class, this is the last thing I know I promised was media query. And I think today's class is one other best way we can actually do the media query. While tomorrow we continue our Dodo site. We also have 2 hours tomorrow. So tomorrow we continue our Dodo site. I know we've built that site and it's almost like halfway. And that's one thing about developers. Developers tend to start a project, then just stop it. You also tend to start a tutorial, then at a point you just give up and just move to another one. Probably if you the other one you are doing is very, very nice. So we should always try to avoid that. So because we want to try to avoid that, I would also say we are going back to our dodo. So anything we build, we will try to build it to completion. I would not let us skip anything. That's what makes it better. That's what makes you to be able to add it to your portfolio and say, okay, yes, I built this, and you can be confident about it. But you cannot say you built an half site to a client. For you to tell a client you are sending a portfolio to a site, it has to be a finished project, or at the stage it is looking finished, even though it's not finished. But the issue that we developers have is we start half projects, and at the end of it, we learn for like 1 year, but every project we did were half. And now we don't have anything to put up in our portfolio, but we have been learning. We know a lot. Portfolio is very key to your learning. So let's always try to finish up our portfolios wherever we start them or wherever we do them. But before I jump into what we are going to do today, let me know. Can you guys hear me? I would like to know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, just drop a comment below if you can hear me. Let me share my entire screen because of what I will be showing today. Great. Sally, you can hear me. So great. Okay, so we'll be building media query today, and this is what we will be achieving using the media query. This is what we'll be achieving doing using media query. Let me show you. You have this. At a screen size, it becomes 4. At another screen size, it becomes 1 till the end. You can see how responsive this thing is. But don't be shocked that the CSS we use is very, very small in it. If you can achieve this, I can tell you that you will not have any issue at trying to achieve any. You will not have any issue when it comes to media query, because I'll try to break it down to tell you the basics of what you need in media queries and the rules for you to say you are doing media query. If you can follow this class to the end, I can assure you that anything media query trying to make a responsive website will not be an issue for you if you have the what is it called, your screen perfect. As you can see, it's written here, resize the browser with the screen okay on screen 992 wide or less. The column will resize to for a 4 column, so this to 2 columns, from 4 to 2, that is on 992 down. Then now on screen 600 down, it becomes 1. So notice this. When it goes to 992, as you can see, 9999, okay, 992, see, let me reduce it to 992, 992, it became 2. As you can see, 2. Then yeah, it becomes 4 when it gets to 600. So this is what we'll be achieving today. This is what we'll be achieving today. And if you can achieve this, I can tell you that you'll be as good as anything you can think of. CSS is very key, and I know that responsiveness seems to be one difficult thing every developer seems to always cry about, like, oh, my site is not responsive enough, I'm having overflowing, this, that, I don't know how to make responsiveness. But if you can follow this class, I will try and tell you some tricks that you can actually do about responsiveness. First, let me tell you one. It doesn't matter how many media query you have on your CSS. You can have 50. Sorry, that's say 50. I was exaggerating, don't mind me. You can have up to like 10. You can style for different screens, like different screens. It will look okay, this thing is plenty, but just try to check it at that point where it worked. Try to always reduce it, and this is how you can now do it. So I'll go to my VS Code. This is my VS Code. See, funny enough, see what I just used to achieve that. This is it. See, very small code. And how many media queries there? Very small also. This media query is there, just two media queries, as you can see. This is just two media queries. And see what is just only changed it. So let me just create our own. Let me say media.html. So let me do our, what is it called that we need? So we need this. The first thing I want to do is open live server. So this is what we have now. And you already know that if I want to change this document, this class is also like a recap class. So to change this document, it will have me. Oh, Fabs, I think you are not in Nigeria here. This one you are saying us good afternoon. That's very nice. What location are you? So to change this document, the title is just to change whatever it is here. So media query. Then if I save, as you can see, this is now media query. You can see. So for title that you see, but when you go to see, for example, see the title of this this our own class. You can see even my Zoom, see the title, see the title. So this is how they achieve those titles you are seeing. But if I remove this title part, let me see what it will give me. Let me just comment it up and save. Just give me this thing. Let it refresh. It's still there. Let me remove it totally, please. So I'll remove it totally. Let me save it. See, it just only gave me blah blah blah. Oh, this is not what I want. I want the title to be there. So good and fine. Let's just continue what we want to exactly do. So the first thing we'll be doing is let's create from what we have. This is what we'll be doing first. We have okay. Let me save this. We have this header. This is like an H4. This is like an H4. So let me just do that also. So first thing you do is always try to wrap all your elements in a div. This will help you in your React project. It will help you start building React. Yes, you've not gotten up to React yet, but this will assist you when you start React because React always cries that you must have a parent container, and this is our own parent container. We use div, and you can use main, you can use anybody thing that you have, which this is actually sometimes the best one that you should always have. You are segmenting it, but me, I'll be using div. So I would have this. So with me having this, so what I'll be doing next is, or let me do my H tag, which I can say maybe H3. Let me use H3. I'll just copy this from here, Control C, then I'll Control V it. All these are not really necessary. But now, some mistakes people do is now you want to put this P tag, this one, this P tag, you want to put it. And people will do this. At this level, if you are still doing this, you are wrong. At this level, if you are asked to do something and are still doing this, you are wrong. You are putting a P tag inside a, what is it called, an H tag. You are wrong. Equally, don't put another maybe H tag inside P tag. If you are doing this at this level, you are wrong, and that is not good for you. So CSS transformation. Okay, CSS transformation. I'll think maybe what I will do in my next class is let's see how we can discuss about what is it called, a little CSS animations, transform, all that. I'll try my best to use tomorrow's Dodo, or what is it called, Dodo site to talk about it because we have something a little about that. Okay, so this is the right way for you to do it. Let me format my document so that it looks neater. Configure. Yes, so this is the right way. You can see down different segments. So the next thing I'll be doing on my end is this part. I can see that on my own browser, this part is bolder. But people, if you want to do it now, I know that a lot of us will just think that, okay, now I want to make this bolder. Let me just create. Yes, you can do it this way. Create span and go and style it. But sometimes you may not need to do that. What you just need is just either use a strong tag, or a B tag. So if I use a strong tag and I put it to the end of this part, it will work. So I would have this now. See, it's now bold. Equally, I can actually use a B tag. By this At this level, if you still don't know how to make something bold, then I feel you need to go back to watch a lot of tutorials to understand it. So this will still it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. Okay, miracle. I think I just showed you the right part. This is the right way. You push the H1 separately and the P tag too. Also, it stays separately. You don't put them inside themselves. They are wrong that way. It has to be on a separate way. So it has to be on a separate way. Okay, good and fine. Now that we've spoken about that, now I can say we have this now, which is the same thing as what we have here. So great. So the next thing is for us to do is this column. But for us to do this column, what we need to do first is let's create another div inside there, because now it's looking for me to do this. I already showed you people how to actually make something like this. The property you use is called display flex to create something to make them in line. That means since I know that a display flex must be there, and we simply says if I'm going to use a display flex, that means I need to have the property of div to like grab them and say this is what I'm displaying flex. So I need to add this, and I can call it a class of equally. I'll call it role. Yes, on if it's bootstrap, it would actually understand what this means in bootstrap. But because I'm not using bootstrap, I'll be using the normal CSS. So you would have this as role. I can name it anything, but just be sure of what you are calling it so that you can remember it when you want to style it. Then now, as I have this, I've created the parent div. Then I need to create another div inside the div that's going to be housing the column boxes. So I would have this. Sorry, small letter. I would have this. Then this is going to have what? It's going to be like I have how many boxes? I have 4 boxes. So I can just copy this, Control C, so that I will just put my section and keep them. Now I have 1, 2. Okay, I'm left with 1. So I have 1, I have 2, I have 3, and I have 4, which is the boxes I have. So since I have this now, I can just give them a of class of column. Let me show you people one trick. If I want to create this, what is it called? Let me remove this. There's a way you can do this. Let me say this. This, for example, I want to create a div and put a class in it. An easy way to do it is doing div dot, then call the class name column. As you can see, it created the class of column for me. There's another trick of how to create all these that you multiply it by 4. It will create everything you need. I think I would have to check about that. I've used it in a long while. So I'll check on that before the end of this class. Just somebody to just try to remind me, please. So I have this. Then the next thing I need to have is now I need to start having, I've created a div, that's I've created this box. So what I need to have is this part now and this part. So how can I get it? What I will just do is create an H2 tag. H2 tag can I have column 1. Then I will have what is it called? Like I said, you don't create a p tag inside this. You create a p tag separately. If you need a p tag or any tag at all, you don't even create h1 inside h1. You don't create h1 then put another h1. Every tag has to stay differently. The only tags that are allowed, that are permitted to stay inside ourselves, is all these things like p tag, span, br, a tag. But tags like this, p tag and h tags, have to stay differently. You see these tags, h to p, have to state differently. Exactly. Thank you for that, Dennis. You're absolutely correct. You do the Dave um, dot class name dot class name is on React times 4. As you can see, he created the 4 this thing for me. So make my class name that I use, okay, class rather. So I can do Control D to change them. Thank you very much, Dennis. That's absolutely correct. I think, as you can see, one best way to learn, one best way to learn is when you mingle with your peers also. Asking questions from your peers, joining classes with your peers, looking for their opinions, ask them when you don't understand something. I would always remind you what I feel I may know, B may not know it. What B may feel, what I think I know very well, B may know it better than me. So it's always very good. You are like listening and also try it out. What is Tailwind CSS? Tailwind CSS is a CSS library. We have different CSS library. Like we have what is it called? Bootstrap. So you also have Tailwind CSS. So that being said, so what I will just do is let me just copy this out, some text, and just add there. The best way to learn all this is first know your CSS. If you don't know your CSS to a better way, you would not be able to, what is it called? You'll not be able to grasp all those frameworks and libraries. You'll not be able to get them very well. The frameworks. If you are not as good enough in your CSS, CSS is the foundation for every front-end developer. With CSS, you are as good as anything as a developer. With just HTML, CSS, you can get a job. If you are good at CSS, I can assure you, you are good to go in going into React, because React is just, what is it called? Is majorly CSS and maybe and JavaScript actually. HTML is very very easy. So if you can know all those, what is it called, CSS back and forth, not even as good as you may think, but just know CSS, you'll be able to go into React. And I can tell you, you can transition into React in less than 3 months if you can get your hands on CSS perfectly. So good and fine. So we have this already. Let's see what we have already now. This is just what we have. So let me just copy all this. Let me copy all this and put in our other divs. So I have this. Let me Control V. I have this. Next, let me Control V it. Then I have this last one. So let me Control V. Let me save and see. Saving and see, I have 3 different ones. But now I want them to be different. I want them to be on a straight line. But for me to even put them on a straight line, I need to first of all check to differentiate them. So let me just give them a color. Let me give them a color. So let me say style. Um, First, I showed you people one tool that you guys can use that is very, very great to get colors, and I'll be using that again here. So I have color picker. I can copy it and say, okay, this is the color that is here. Then I come here, then I say background dash color. Then I do my control V, which is good for me. So let me save this and see what the outcome is. Yes, I've gotten this. This is what I want. But in the other way to, let me just copy. The second one is different. Let's see. The second one is different. So it's like a gradient color that are reducing. So we have this as BBBB. So I'll just do the same thing here. Let me just copy this. Control C. No, I'll copy from here rather. Control C. I come here and I paste it. Control V. Then this one is BBBB. 3B is enough also. Then this one is what? Let me see what I have here. My color picker, which is very awesome. CCCCC. So I can still come here, then paste. No, sorry, Z. Let me just copy it from here. I downloaded an extension on my Linux system to save all my copies. And I would also advise you people to also do that. You can on Windows, you do your Windows plus I think V or spacebar. It helps you bring out everything you've copied. It brings out everything you've copied. Then on my own, this is what I have. I have a clipboard. So everything I've copied is here. So I can go back at any time and look for it. This is a Linux system, a Linux system. So I believe the next one should be DDD. Your colors is either 3 or 6. If they are the same thing, so is either 3 or 6. So it can be FFF, 3F, or FFFF, which is 6F. Either way is right. How to download color picker? This is how to just download color picker. Look for Colorzilla on your Chrome. Colorzilla for Chrome. There's Firefox own too. Then you come here, which is a Chrome extension. Or no, you look for the one with Chrome. Chrome.google.com. So you have Colorzilla. Then you have this. Because I've installed it already, it's telling me to remove it. And that's all you need to do, know how to install Colorzilla. So it's super easy and straightforward. So I've done this now. Great. I have this. Awesome. Let's now see what's the next thing I need to do. I can see that there's a width here. Like not width actually, but like spacing. So let's just add that spacing to our own too. For us to add that spacing, I want somebody to just guess and tell me what I will do. Control V, my own, I'm using a Linux system, so it's different. So it's different because I'm using a Linux system. So I have a clipboard that I downloaded that I installed that just help me keep everything I've saved. But I think on the Windows system you do that Windows button than what is it called? V. Oh, padding. Yeah, we'll add padding to it. Absolutely correct. So let me do that. Then I'll give everything a width also. The first thing I'll do is let me give a style. Let me call it style. Let me call my style here. I can call it anywhere though. Style. Then I can first the first thing I'll do is everything has one same thing, which is this column. So we simply means I can do dot column to track everything. Dot column. Then I can do this. What will I do next? I can do first thing. Let me do the padding of let me give it a padding of 30 pixel and check what do we have. Okay, this is looking good now. This is looking better. Another way I can do this thing is by doing coming to my column this thing and say display flex. Let's see what happens. Oh, sorry, not column, rather, not column. I'll come to this, the parent, this role, which should be role. Role should have the display flex. So I'll have dot role. I'll say display flex. Let's see what happens. See what happened. It brought everything. Yeah, it's taking a little bit of it. Like it's not taking everything. I can also, if I need to push it, and I can also try several methods. And say, let me inspect. How can I push this thing to go? So I can say width of 100%. Oh, sorry. I have to give all these ones a separate width. But I don't want us to use what is it called a fixed width to shift all these things. I would not want us to do that, and I don't want us to use the flex property to move all this, maybe flex of giving them this thing. Then I want us to use something very simple that I don't think we've ever used. That float property. I don't think we've ever used float property. Have we used float property before? I'm not sure. So what I can do is let's use the float property. Before we do the float property, let's give everything a width of what is it called? Let's say that five, that four rather. 4 divided by 100, that was like 25, which is 25%. So let me just do this, Control X. Then I have this. Good and fine. You can see just that width of 25% that I gave to it has assisted me in pushing all this way. So let me try to resize it. I'm resizing it. It's resizing, but this is not what I want. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. So I've been able to like do what I want, make it like in this kind of way. But now I want to like whenever they get to a break point, they should like reduce, because now it's like when they get to a break point, it's still elapsing, like it's still big, and I don't want that. Single width for all of them. You see that we tried that single width for all of them. Okay, for all of them at once, if it's 25%, this one will work. But if you're using a single width, like single width, it won't work that way. You have to just like give them individual width, but you are using one same style. That's the column that you have. So for me now, let's get to the media query part. Let's say we are building a site, then we know that at a particular part it gets to overflow. It's not looking good. What you can just do is media query. For you to start media query, your parent has to be on top. Then your what you are querying has to be below. So it's like taking it from the top to the bottom to the last one. Like I said, CSS is cascading style sheets, which simply means it's only going to understand the last thing below. So if I have something like, let me show you something. At media, let me do at media screen that's suggested for me. Then now I need to add the width, the word that I want to do. So I'm saying max, and then I do this max dash width. Then I say I put it as, let me say 1000 pixel. Then I close this max width and I close this. So with this, I've been able to call my media query. So in English, it's saying the media screen and max width at maximum width 1000. So 0 to 1000. That's what it's calculating. It's calculating 0 to 1000. It's calculating from 0 to 1000. That's what this one means. So at max width 0 to 1000. What did I want it to do at that point? Then can I come back to this my column part and say dot column. What I want to do when it gets to that point, I can now put as width should be 50%. Let's look at what this should give us. Let me resize this and now take it to 1000. Wait, let me check something. Column width 50%. Okay, wait. Let's see. What am I doing wrong? Is it taking 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%? Let me add this property and check. Coming. Wow. So I think it's time I debug and see what I'm missing. Since this method is not working, let me try some things here. Let me say if I use this method, I'll try something. I'm still here. Let's check something. Okay, and say contact this dash. Then I say um clear both. Let me see. I'll check. So I'm trying to check something. Then display table, display flex. Let me check. Oh, wow. Did I misspell something somewhere? Let me see. It's actually weird. Where am I missing something? Yes, I will explain the rule after. I will explain everything I'm trying to put, but I'm trying to check something first. Oh, wait. This is actually interesting. Let's see here. Did I give column width twice? Wow. So this is the issue here. Just the display flex I forgot to remove. Wow. So let me just remove all this. Let me comment this out. I'll comment this out. As you can see, a single mistake when you're trying to like debug something can actually cost you everything you've done. Can cost you almost everything you've done. So because of the display flex I just added here, a lot of things became very, 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 very different. So instead of me using display flex, let me just do this. Let me check. Float left. Oh, so this is just what I needed. Instead of using that display flex, the display flex spot everything. So because it's taking it as display flex, and I don't want to use flex direction column, which will be longer. I'll show you the other way I'm supposed I can do this and achieve it. So I don't want to scatter our head because me myself I just that display flex that I use over there has actually spoiled a lot because I'm trying to make this code very short. I don't want us to have longer code the way we have the first one. Something very short and achieve what we have because I am a kind of person that I love short codes and achieve whatever you want. If it's that code that will help you to achieve that short code, let's use it. So I think what we just missed was just this float left instead of us using what is it called, the roll, touching this roll and putting it as the flex. So that was the issue. So apologies for that, and I think I'll be able to clarify that. So if I'm to continue, adding float left, what float left does, let me explain to you what float left does. Float left is going to take everything that you have and make everything like almost in line, but it's trying to tell them that align it to the left. But we gave this one 25% already. So it's almost like doing almost the work of, let me remove the 25%, doing almost the work of display flex. But now it allows you to be able to customize and know that okay, this thing when you are resizing it, I need to change in accordance with media query. But display flex is not helping us to do that. And I'll show you how to use that display flex on things like this also. So if I'm to resize this and do the other one, I would have this one. If I say maybe 600, I need to make it one. I would explain everything again. Just let us just be calm. So I have this, make it 100%. This is what is performing all the magic of us reducing, that's making it wrap in a very good way. So as you can see. But now this method, I know now for now we've not been able to understand what float left is, left is, and we don't even know how to use float. And I would not even encourage you to even use float when you are styling anything. Try to avoid using float. Float can actually rubbish anything you are doing. Float is actually very easy to rubbish things that you are doing. So I would say avoid using float. And I'll show you one other way I feel I would expect you to do it if you have something like this. What I would expect you to do is one, you have this role. So if I should do display flex, I want to use that display flex that I showed you, that I said I would have used. So if I have display flex on my role, dot role, then I say display flex, everything will be at the center. Then I have another listing that says if I need to like resize them, what I can just do is come here, make this in a div. Let's say I'll have to structure all this in another div. It's a long process, but it's one of the right way I feel you should do it. I have this 2 for now. Then I create another div here. Wrap, I need to like resize it. So I have this also. Then I place it here. So which simply means I have 2 divs. There are 4 boxes. There are 4 boxes. Then now 2 is going to go at a separate screen. On that 2 is going to go at a separate screen. So because I have that, so I can just do this. I have this role already. Let's check what we have now. Let me save. Go back. Check what we have. Let me remove that width of 25%. Let's see. I have this. So I have the row which I would want to make these two to still go in line with each other. So I have this which I will still be displaying flex. 2 new columns we made. This is actually a long and a kind of very bad process that I wish nobody would not do, and it's not the right practice. If you are trying to do this is not like the right practice, but because of the knowledge that we have for now, that is not still very solid, and we would want to like display things flex and try to not use float, because using float is is not the best way to do something, to do what maybe like resize anything. Try to avoid using float. As you can see, I've been able to achieve that same thing like this, like without this thing. So now what I need to do is just to make this in a full width. And another way I can to make this one a full width now is either using the, what is it called, the width property. Width property. Yeah. Then the columns too. Yeah. So that means I have to give the column and the row one a width of 100. Width 100%. The column too, width 100%. Ideally, this is a good way, a good practice for you as a beginner on how to structure. As you can see, it's still giving me that same thing. But now, what about if I need to like now reduce it when it gets to another point? What can I do? The first logic I will do is, let me say at 1000. So that's when my media query comes in. So I do that at 1000 at media and screen. No, at media max dash width. Then I say 1000 pixel. Then I come here, then I say I have, what is it called, the role where I display flex. So I'll pick this one, I display flex, Control V. Then this time around I will say flex direction column at 1000. Now it has given me that what I wanted. As you can see, 4 1. But now this is a very long process. I don't like this process at all. It's kind of very, very long and it's looking very confusing to a beginner to say, okay, this is how I should do it. But in the reality, in reality, this is the best way you should do it. But it's like a long process. But for your sake that you don't understand float yet, I think this is the ideal way I would want you to pick it up and say you are doing. But the moment you understand how float works, then you can do this. But there are other methods you can use this. If you don't use this, there's something you call flex wrap and all that. Somebody else talked about it here. In our tomorrow's class, I'll talk about that also. But I'm only trying to just break media query down small by bit. I don't want to rush up to tell you people use this way, use this way, and at the end of it, you will not understand what you are doing. You will not probably feel, oh, you are using float this time around. I'm using float. The next moment, I'm using flex. Then now, the question you ask yourself is, when am I supposed to use float? When am I to know that I'm supposed to use flex direction column? But these are the true properties. As you can see, there's nothing like flow, there's nothing like, all these properties are similar properties that we've heard about, that we know about, and that we have seen. All these are something that we have seen and what we have actually practiced or used while building anything. Flex direction is very, 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 very familiar. Float might not be familiar because I don't think any of my class have spoken about float. So one thing about developer is, like as you could see, I had a bug. I had to figure out how other method I can use to do it, and I was able to solve it. But now we've not done our one at 1000 screen. We've not done at our 600. When you get 600, it should become one. So that would just be on this flow, this row one. That's when I will say at this point, let me remove. Okay, let me just do this. I'll say this. So at 600, that's a 6,000, 600. What happens at 600? At 600, it becomes this. Equally of something that I was trying to solve using the, what is it called? The float property. But with this line of code, it still looks short, but the float was shorter. I've been able to achieve it. And what I did was, as I said, every developer, before you develop anything, use a biro. Draw what you need to do first before you even do the media query. Draw it. So because I could draw it on my head, I knew that what I needed was two parent box, then another two parent box, which says, let me um format my document here good and fine. So all I know I need was I needed this, which is one, and I needed this, which is two. Then this is now housing this and this. Then my parent role is now housing the everything. My parent role is actually housing two, what is it called? Two rows. So equally, if I had not had this, if there was no this, it would have still worked the way I wanted it to work. If there was no this, which is like two, then when I reduce, it gets to one. It is two, then when it's on small, it gets to one. This should allow us to do any site. Let me show you a site. Let me say, no, let me say books. No, let me go to books. Let me do training. The thing. I'll show you a site where this what's it called works. You see this box? Let me resize the box and show you. So I have the see at a different screen, it becomes two. What we just built now, this is how we are, this is how it was achieved. So you could see it was exactly like this was achieved. The flex, whatever. Ignore all this because this is a grid system. So this is what grid does actually. See the direction, flex direction, roll. This is what grid does. Then next one, if I should continue reducing, it gets to one. What we just did now, if you can understand that basic of what we did now, the basic of what we did, that I know that you don't still understand yet, but I will explain again. You'll be able to do this. And now, if you can do this, I don't think you should have any other issue with media query, because the only key thing about media query is just this, what is it called? This title. Media, screen, and if it's minimum width, it's going to be mean width. If it's both of them, it's going to be mean width and what is it called? I think it's like this, max dash width. I'll check it now. I'll check it now. Let's say max width, mean width 1000, max width 12. Which is it simply says within 1002 and one this thing, it should be different. No, wait. Sorry. Let me bring this one back before I do that. Let me check the media query part. Let me use what I'm doing. Okay, it's not going to work that way, and you can even see it's not showing it. That's what CSS does. Whatever code you cannot read, it just omit it. It removes it totally. So whatever code is not reading, let's see this, it will remove it totally. So you see, because it could not read that part, I could not see it in my CSS part. So let me just look for that in the W2 schools. This is almost what we did now. I'm still here. Okay, this is it. Then what was I writing wrongly? I did max width and min width now, Abi. Yeah. I think you just refuse to work. Or did I misspelled anything? Let's check it again. Let's check it again. At 1000 to 1002, what happens? It's not working. So these are one of the things you face as a developer. You are copying exact code, or you have something on your head that is exactly, but it's not working that way. And you keep asking yourself, but why is it not working that way? But it's one same code. It's exactly the same thing. And I even copied this max with 900, min with this. So let me check role. So this is actually very funny, right? Okay, is it not, okay, it's working actually. It's working. So let me do this min width and max width. Let me say this one should be 1000. 1600. It's actually working. I did not just keep note of it. So let's see. See, at 1000, it changes to 2. At 1000, it's taking it from, what is it called, from 600 to 1000, changes to 2. But if I do this roll, let me change this to roll and save it. So at 1000 below, it still remains the same way. As you can see, at from 600 to 1000, it's still the same way. But if I do this, change it to column, it will become 2 at that 1000. As you can see, it has become 2. So the way to combine a media query listing is using the max width first, then the min width. Like I said, if I need to style anything below, it has to be the lesser width, which is like maybe 600, a lesser width. If I need to see, if I do this, let me show you something. Let me do this. This is wrong for me to do. If I do this, this is wrong. I'm putting this max width first, and I'm saying this. CSS is reading from up to down. So if it should come up down and it sees that okay, you've not gotten to this part, it comes and it reads this. It reads just this. Then now you now get to that 600. It will not go back up and go and read it to check it if it's correct. It just checks, is there anything like 600 below? No, there's no 600. Then it continues whatever it's doing. Let me see, let me know if anybody is understanding or following along with this class, because I've not seen anybody's comment or question so far. If you are following with this class, if you feel you're understanding to an extent, let me just know in the comment section below. So let's see what happens with this. So as you can see, I'll change this to roll. You know, I put this one to be column. Let me change it to roll so that you can visualize what I just explained. So till the end, it's not accepting it. As you can see, it's not accepting the first one. The dark max width or min width is not showing here, because the last one I seen is that, what is it called, max width. Look at this part. Be looking at this part. This part. Let me increase it a bit. So see, it's not accepting that. It's not showing that part. So that's just it. So let me just bring this back and let's see. Okay, a bit tough. Okay, understood. Okay, it's a bit understood. I know that I'm trying to look for a very clear, what's it called, that we can do to get what we want, so that we're able to achieve a better understanding. So let's see. Let's build something. Let's see how we can build this and make it responsive. And I also give you people a task. This task is not something you're going to submit. You can send a DM to me. I'll review it and give you a feedback about it. It's not a task to be submitted. Uh, I want you people to try. What happened there? Okay. I want you people to try and build something, anything that of your choice, and make it responsive in the sense that just add enough media query to it. Add enough media query to it. When I mean enough media query, Like, ensure that there is no bit of it that is not responsive. Every bit of it should be responsive. This part, this section you're looking at, and this section, let's see the number of media query that is there. I want to show you something. So let's look for it. Let's get to this part. We have this. Look at this part. See, media screen at 1005. There is max at 1005. Now, max at 2006. That means this is 1 media query. It has added on that one. It has added on that one at 1004. That means 100 interval. It added on that one 1002 something. On that media query. Just for this thing to be perfect, to be stable. The next thing keep going down. It added on that one at 900. It added on that one at 600. Okay, the last one was 600. But now let's look at it. You looking at it. Let me open it to the side so that you're able to see it very well. You looking at it, see, it looks extremely good. But you never knew the number of media query that was there. So as a front-end developer, you don't need to be worried about the media queries or whatever you are doing. That, oh, this code having a lot of media query. Yes, it's good for you to reduce media query, make your page responsive that you have to use less media query. But at the other hand of it, try to ensure that you make it as responsive as possible. Nobody is going to come and check, aside a developer and me that is not coming to come and check how many media query was here or how many media query was used. You won't see it, you won't know. You won't easily know that that's the number of media query that is there. Nobody will know aside the developer. So use the media query as you like, but don't overuse it, but use it rightly. And everything used on media query, you are using a media query or a media query style. Everything that is being used there, everything that is being used there, that is called there, you can restyle them. I can come here and say roll one, and I gave it width of 100%. I can come to my media query part and say I'm giving it a width of 20%. I can resize another thing and say I'm giving it another width of another thing. So use that media query effectively and efficiently. So I said I'm giving it a width of 20%. See, this 20%. It's not going to touch the media query that is there. It's not going to. How do you change your navbar when using media query? Okay, for you to do that, it's very easy also. It's very, very easy. Let me show you from W3 schools before we actually start building navbar. Navbar. I want to look for a responsive one. W3 schools. So this is going to be the output. I will explain everything about the code for you. See, when it gets small, it brings out this and it tells you this is what you have. It's still media query. It's media query and styling. And as you can see, what they just have, and also you need a little JavaScript for this one to actually work, because you need to actually put this, what is it called? To call the class and also this. But media query is one of the things you have to do to use. So you see this. The first thing you have when it's like this, so let me explain it for you. You have just this part when it's on larger screen. Then when it gets to smaller screen, this part is being called. This part is being called. And that's where the function is being, you see it here. So it says change this top bar becomes, what's it called? Responsive whatsoever. To change the class, that if class is this, then now it should include this. But I don't want to talk about JavaScript, but it's something like that's why when you get JavaScript, you'll be able to learn this and do this one effectively. But for now, it may look very difficult. How do you do mobile? Yes, how do you do hamburger on what is it called? Mobile view. To do hamburger on mobile view, this is just the major code that you need to do. But you're not got to JavaScript part. That's why I said I was not going to code it. because with JavaScript, if you say you are jumping this part, with just pure CSS, let's see, everything is on Google. Everything is on Google. Everything you need is on Google. Everything you need is on Google. And you can see in this place they're telling you they want to show you how to build this only, what is it called, HTML and CSS without JavaScript. So, and this is what they came out to with. And I'm very sure that what they did at the end of this thing is they created a list type of none and just called out just the other part of the drop down and created a drop down menu. I say this part of none. I already thought about that. But I don't want us to be using things that are not realistic. So once we get to JavaScript part, you'll be able to get everything and understand it very well. But if you want us to do this, yes, you will get it, but this is not the right way. This is not the best way you can actually do this. If I copy everything of this code, this is what I want to add. This is the output. This is the output they are trying to achieve of this. But when you click this, it's going to be like a drop down and it's not going to look okay of what we expect it to actually look like. So let's see. So in this, and see how it looks. It's not looking like what we feel it should be. They had no JavaScript, just ordinary CSS. So like I said, everything is on Google. Everything you need on development, just Google it and you would see the way, the what you want and how to use it. The only person that can say yes, I developed this myself is probably the owner of the code, the person that wrote HTML code, and say yes, I formulated this myself. But if he's not the only one that formulated HTML by himself, then let everything online. And the knowledge you have online, you can utilize and keep using it and keep using it. So I feel with this, you should at least have a little knowledge about media query. But now I still know that you may still have challenges or questions about media query. So ask me any question about media query. Ask me anything you don't understand about media query and what you wish to understand about media query. Because one of the tasks you'll be doing in your in JavaScript part will have to do with media query. It's a task that you have to do, they have to include media query to it. So first, ask me anything about media query. I'll be ready to attend to them and reply you on all the questions you have about media query. I'll pick everything one by one and break it down as small as possible. Okay. Media query is never easy as a developer. Media query is not always something that is very easy. Is one thing that every developer finds very difficult when you are trying to like learn. But now what you need to do along the line is, how can I perfect it? How can I keep practicing? How can I see you keep practicing to understand that you are very good at media query? And if you can get media query out of your way and you're good with your colors, you're actually going to be a perfect developer. Without JavaScript, you can be making money. When you go to Upwork, you see jobs that just only require you HTML, CSS. A lot of them. So now, if you can do something with HTML, CSS, I have a friend who is making close to 300,000 per month with just building HTML, CSS website on Upwork. So I can tell you, if you are good with your CSS, I make your CSS, but HTML is nothing. HTML is just a markup language. How do you get them to be four? For me to Okay, how do I make HTML to be four? This is what I did. Let me comment this out. Somebody also gave us an expo. Let's comment everything out. Yes. How I made them to be four is I did a div dot, the first one role. This one is stagnant. Then to make the ones to be four, what I did was dot class dot, let's say column Then uh four. Somebody also suggested and he brought this and it worked. So I feel, Emmanuel, do you understand how I made it to be four? Or do you mean this, or you mean how I made this part to be four? Is this what you mean? How it became four? How it became four was me styling these columns and all this. This is the style. Very short. This is how I made it four. You said you'll be sharing hints, so media query won't be a problem. Yes, so this is the hint. Thank you for reminding me about that. This is the hint for you not to make media query a problem. The first thing you need to know before you do media query is put this thing on your head or browse about it. You need to know about this. This is the first key thing to know about media query. Let me open up a lot of things. Let me control B. Yes. Let me increase. Okay. This is the first thing you need to know about media query. This thing is very important. Then now you can now pick what this thing, is it minimum width or max? There are only two, which is the min and max. Which is the min and max. Then I also have, so you have this. This is actually very, very important and it's key. You need to know it. You need to know how to do something like this. It's very, very key. Then now the inside part of it, what you just need for the inside part of it is calling. Sorry, when you say flexbox, um, can you give us a quick example of mobile tablets for a flexbox? I think that's what we did with what you actually just did now is using display flex. That's like a flexbox property, not using the flex, what's it called, whatever. Okay, Femi, thank you. Thank you for that. Esther would also reply to that, but let me just give the hint of how to make your things responsive. So, as I said, this thing is important. As this is important, also, you need to now check for the class you want to make responsive. Look for that class element. Now, that I said, always draw your things in the paper first, or any design using any design method. That would allow you to know what you need to style. It will allow you to know, okay, I need to style this, but what aspect did I need to style here? You're able to like inspect and say, okay, I need to style all this. What box? Is it this box? Is it this? Then you can inspect on it. I feel you will also need to look for a tutorial to what about debugging. Debugging. Let me check a YouTube video that I think I've seen before. YouTube video. Let me check it. About debugging. Because if you can debug using this thing, your life will not remain the same. So you have what is it called? Chrome debugger tutorial or type CSS Chrome debug. CSS. Yeah, so who is this? Learn code. Let me look for. Okay. Yeah, this is actually one person I can actually say. This is Angela You. Before the end of this program, I will share you with a bulky tutorial about her that will help you further. So this woman would help you like this tutorial alone is enough for you to learn about how to debug what I'm currently doing. That I know might be an issue for any beginner. So this is it, as you can see, exactly what we were doing. So that being said, I feel with that it will be easier for you to debug because debugging will help you know about media query. If you can't debug, you can't do media query because you don't know what you are what you are trying to like respond. And with that, you'll be able to know when to even say max rate or something to reduce some things. So this is just the int. This is the easiest method, and call whatever class name that you need to do. Class name, then style. Everything you call at the top, just you can call it here and give it a different style. I can decide to say, see how good this thing is, bar. I can say this is column, right? No, let me give all this my h2. Let me give this h2 a class of um h2 column. Then let me copy this. Let me remove this. Sorry, I don't need it. Let me remove this. I don't need it. Then let me say dot v. Then I give it a font size of 70 pixel. Let's see what would happen. I'm giving it a font size of 70 pixel. Why did it not increase? So I call it in the wrong place. So I have this 70 pixel. See, it's big. But now, if I want to do media query, you'll be looking like how I should reduce this thing. It's very easy. Just order your art media screen and do the normal, what's it called? Do the normal and then bracket max. Let me use, I'm using max with his money. Minimum width of, let's say, 500 pixel. You see what will happen? No? Font size, let's say 10, no, 20 pixel. Let me use this. Let me use this way. This is wrong, sorry. I need to copy this my column part. Come here, paste here, then now change this to 20 pixel. Then let's see what will happen. Yes, giving me 20 pixel here because I'm using minimum width, which is saying at minimum width, anything that is above 500 work normally. But once it gets to anything below 500, it's factor it goes to 700. So that's why if I'm coming here, let me just change this one back to max width. So at max width, it should be 20%. So which is, at anything bigger that is above 500 is big. But once it gets smaller, it gets small. So if you can get this, I can tell you, then what is difficult for you to style? Nothing is going to be difficult for you to style. Nothing is going to be difficult for you to style. So, Esther or Lawrence, I want to like know, what do you mean by, can you give us a quick example of flexbox? What property do you mean? There are different ways of doing flexbox on this thing. So please, in the comment section below, please just say it. But the one I showed now is that flex. But let me show you another. I showed you the part of the flex as you actually said. So let me show you people another way of doing that flex that we just did now. That particular one we just did now. And this time around, I would want us to use what is it called? Display flex. So you have this. You see that this thing we just did now. That we use display that flex in that kind of way. But now let's do it in a simpler method. Let's break it down in a simpler method again. I'm trying to control Z everything I've done. Let's break it down in a simpler method. And see here, I'm breaking it down to where we just have the 4 columns without having to add extra days. This is the part. Yeah. So we have this. Let's see what we have. Let me remove this float. Let's see. This is what we have. This is what we have. Everything side by side. So now, how can we actually achieve this when we say we want to use? Why didn't the font size change when you first styled it within? I use minimum width. That's why, Sally. I use minimum width. So let's do this. Let's check this now. When that's when they say use flexbox, the assignment they give you, they say use flexbox. One of the things that was expected of you to do is this. So if you could not do it in that particular way that I showed you, another method of you doing it is like this. This is the proper way of using the flex. So you have this. I'll first of all target my role and say display flex. So I'll say dot role and say display flex. Let's see. Now it's on a single file. All in all, it's a single file. But now the next thing I'll do to check again is I would have to add a property called flex wrap. And you see what flex wrap does. And as you know, in English language, when something is wrapping, flex wrap, and you say, and you call it wrap. And let's see this. I would have to, I think, let me just dock it to this part. And as you can see, very easy. I've removed everything. This is the most easiest way to do what we've been trying to do since. Just that flex wrap property. This is the easiest way of doing it. There are 5,000, no, that's 5,000. I don't mind, I love exaggerating. There are several ways of achieving a front-end task. And all you just need to do is what way works better for you and what way do you think is okay. I use just float, it worked. Me adding just float here, float, removing all this without the row, adding float here, it worked. And me creating the row and doing that display flex and doing all this, see, we've been able to achieve what we have been trying to achieve since. Very easy, no difficulty of just adding. That's how to use flex property, the flex wrap property of this, and saying wrap. So it says just it's targeting the width of the screen and saying at the width of the screen, can this thing still contain? If no, I'm breaking. And also the media query is also assisting it. So let me remove this media query to show you something. As you can see, without that media query, see. But adding the media query and saying, also give it 50%, give it 100. Not save. And it's working. So I feel if you can understand all these logics, there are several ways you can do it. If you can understand all this logic, you should not have any issue, no challenge at all. You should not come along any challenge. So I feel if you can watch this tutorial slowly and almost to the end, you should be able to understand what what is it called media query is about, how media query works. But if you still don't understand how media query works, you can send me a DM that I will recommend you one of Zuri's video or a video that will also break it down further than this, which I think, I'm not sure if that would actually help, but it should. But with this, I would like to know from the comment section below, can you make media query? Can you make Esther? I think I've been able to respond to your how to make a quick example of mobile and tablet for the Flexbox. That's like using flex property. So I've been able to do this, Esther. So if you still have another question about media query, let's get into it. This class is not to overwhelm, to make you feel overwhelmed or make you feel something is difficult. I want to break it down as much as possible. That's why I have to go through the first route and also going back to this. And I don't want to confuse you or make you feel this is very difficult. Development in CSS is not difficult. Everything you need to learn about is go online, look for an example, Everything aside that telling you to build an aeroplane using HTML, CSS, that's only when it does not exist. But if you are not being asked to build an aeroplane with just HTML, CSS, I can assure you that everything is online. All you just need to do is Google search it. Google search it. See, just type it anyhow. Just type it anyhow. If I just say, how can I, is English, make 4 bucks in one roll using TO. I'm typing something using HTML and CSS. Just English. Oh. Now they now restructured what I said and broke it down for me and say this. Now see what they told me. As you can see, this is what they told me. Let me check another one. That's one search. See, Stack Overflow 2 will give me if there are errors or something. Stack Overflow will also show me. Will also tell me, okay, assignment example. Let's see what the person has. Every issue you're having, try to Google it. You see something on Stack Overflow. Oh, this one is actually very, very big. This is very, very big. It's something everybody can do. With float, you can do this. With display flex, you can do this. This is just displaying these 2 box flex and giving them justify content center. That is all. I know everybody that is trying to achieve this, you will know it because you know that this is just display flex and justify content center. That's what you'll be able to achieve with that. Let's see the answers they're giving. Okay, this is even in grid. It's using grid to do this. He asked in grid. Okay, this is in grid. What I was saying is in what is it called? And normal CSS. So display flex just like what the center will allow this person achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. Grid is also very easy and it will help you also. Okay, so I'm serious for your questions between. So what other questions, what other challenges do you have or have you been having related to coding? Probably what we've spoken about or majorly what we've spoken about. Since I think I exactly FAB 24, correct. Justify context space between, correct. I think because there's a little lag in when I speak and when you actually type. It's actually always very correct. FAB, you're actually doing very awesome. I can assure you that you contribute so much in this class, and I really appreciate that also. Well done. And for every other person that have also been contributing, like Becca, and I also know of Andrew, and I know I cannot just call everybody's name, but well done, and I know you guys are doing very great. Then I also need to clarify something. Yes, I know that a lot of you might look like, oh, Sylvercodez does not have mercy when he grades. He comes to the class and he plays, oh, he's nice and is that, and whenever he grades people down. My goal is not to grade you down. My goal in this training is to ensure you people see the like to see those little things that you feel you can remove and fix it. I go with instructions also. I grade you with instructions and I ensure that I grade you in a way that I'm not if on the side you impress me before you get that 100% mark. Yes, you are a beginner and I should overlook some things. But if you don't impress me to overlook those things, I would not give you the 100 mark. And when I say impress, I don't mean do a beautiful design. Just follow to an instruction with key. Without you following instructions, you would not be a very good developer. To be a good developer, you need to follow instructions. Then, after you follow the instruction, if you now feel I need to add, then that's what they call suggest. You suggest to your client that adding this and this will make whatever you're giving me to do for you more beautiful. Do you recommend I do it? Do you like it? This is a sample. then you can now break a branch and do that sample. But if a client tells you, I want a circle, don't give a circle with edges or styled circle. Give that circle exactly the way it is, the way the designer works with it. And with the way I implement, the best thing of a developer for you to do is ensure you design pixel perfect. For you to know what the meaning of pixel perfect, let me browse it for you. Pixel perfect. Pixel perfect meaning. Exactly. See, pixel perfect means that a design maximizes the sharpness and is implemented to deliver maximum fidelity in the actual product, which simply means the design they give to you. Creating a pixel perfect app means you are creating designs that are implemented to look identical on different devices down to the last pixels. That you are actually designing exactly what they gave to you and the exact way it's supposed to be. That makes you to be a very good developer. The mistake a lot of us make is we don't pay key attention to details. As a developer, failure to pay attention to details, you would not go far. I can assure you that. I don't mean you not go far in job. I mean you will not go far in a company because you would have to go do a lot of back and forth. And I'm trying to tell you, no, you need to add more paddings to this place. No, this is looking not the same thing as the design. No, this is this. But for you to make that look that way, the way it is pixel perfect, you need to study how to use the design. Learn how to use the Figma perfect, like design a Figma perfect way. And one other way is also using your debugger to check if it's in line with it. Also, calculations in the head matters. Calculation, what I mean is, if I look at it now, right now, if I look at the design, if I look at any design, I can equally say, okay, this is looking like a 14 pixel or a 13 pixel button, like the font size. So, okay, one rem. Converting one rem to this thing on this, it should give me something like 16, but it's still within that range. I can see from what looking at something, I can say this is 18. I can say this is between this range. If I need to put something 20, I need to know this is 20. What's the perfect width for tablet and mobile? The perfect width for mobile is 600 down. Tablet is around that 600 close to 1000. So for me to clear that, let me browse it for you. So you can even see from here, design for desktop displays from this to this, through this to this. Design for mobile displays is around 3 to this, or through this to this. Design for tablets is around this to this and this to this. So it's within that range, 600 down, then around 1000 up. Then from tablet, from anything web screen size is 1000 up, like a laptop. I'm trying to also get okay, I don't have it here. I can't see it here. But basically, that's what I think you should know. For you to know about this, you can also browse more about it. So for mobile screens, it's around 360, okay, like this. But it's around, if you are styling, ensure you start from 600 down. Then if you need to start from something that desktop, start from 600 close to 1000. Then you need to start from something laptop, start from 1000 or 1002 upward. 1000 is still tablet though. 1001 is still tablet. 1002 is already a desktop kind of view. Okay, please can you make a recap on the box sizing model? What I think you need to know is what does box sizing do in CSS? So this is what it does. It does not really have any value like that, but it does here. Without it, it will work. It will work. But for it to get actual, like the real size of something, the real maybe the width or height or padding of something, you need to add that at the beginning, and it's just with the star, which is trying to say is checking everywhere you're adding your margin and padding width and height, and making sure it is the exact way. So box adding property allows you to include the padding and the border of an element total width and height. So that's what it just does. It's not really something like equals the actual width of the element and also actual height. See, these are examples. So it takes the real width of something, and so this is the real width and this is the real height. Sometimes it might be different, and you look at it, you look different. But with this element that has something makes it get the correct thing. So, what other question do we have? Please ask them. Because by tomorrow, when I build the website, I will not be talking about media query in depth. And when I'm doing those media query things, of which of what we have been taught here and our previous tutorials, I will just go straight to making it responsive. That's what I'm asking. Ask any question you may think you may have. Let's fix them. Let's talk about them so that by tomorrow we don't have any issue and we don't have anything that will draw us back. Okay. Don't you have any question? I've not restarted. Yes, we have started it before. We are just going to continue it. You can watch one of the Sunday class that we did, I think 2 weeks back, when we started building it. This is what we are trying to build. This is what we are trying to build. Yes, media query and responsiveness. Response media query is just the language that we use in what's it called in the CSS, like what you write in the CSS. That's what media query is. Responsiveness is just somebody speaking to an English person and telling the person your website is not responsive. You cannot say your website is not media queried. So your website is not responsive. That means the media query on your website is not working. So it's the same thing that they work together. Yeah, Femi manual, all tags will actually be graded. Developer, the mentors are actually working hand in hand to try to ensure that all tags are graded. So be rest assured, there are thousands, like close 100k, what is it called, tags that we have to grade. So we are grading them. That's why we always plead whenever you want to submit your task, ensure that you submit your task in like the right task, because there will not be room for regrading. You won't expect somebody who's having 10,000 of tasks, and when you say you submit your task, you submit the wrong thing and wait for it to reopen it back. If we have to do that, that means you have to regrade almost every task that people submit. So it's not like a punishment. It's just something that needs to make you know that okay, yes, you may not have the opportunity to resubmit. It's just like an interview. You fuck up once, that's the end. So we're grooming you to be good and not just be good, but to be almost the best. To be the best rather, not almost. So our tomorrow's class, we'll be building this. We'll be building this tomorrow. I'm very sure a lot of people, yes, to inquire, should I say a little JavaScript? But let's see by tomorrow. What what is the best site to track learning HTML and CSS perfectly? Yes, Zulu will take you to learn HTML and CSS perfectly. But to practice, I can say learn what is it called? Check front end mentor. Front end mentor as beginner task. Frontendmentor.io. They have challenges that would help you. See, they told you this is just for this is going to be built with just HTML, CSS. There's going to be JS, they'll tell you. So you will know where you're focusing on and what you want to build. HTML, CSS. I see the tag newbie. And this one is free. So somebody that newbie is just somebody that is starting. So you have all this. On desktop, it's going to be like this. Good and fine. I would like to know in the comment section below. Have you been able to learn something today? Could you practice on what you've learned? And how good is what you've learned? Did it make a difference with you? I would just like to know in the comment section below. This will actually help me prepare for tomorrow's class and what should be expected from you guys. Okay, I'm still here and I'm still waiting for a response. And let's see how we move. And because there's another class coming up next, and I think by 4:50 we should end this class at most, so that the other person can have the time to prepare also. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, Esther, I'm also looking forward to continue the dodo task. I want us to continue it also. Okay, for me, journey has been awesome. I've managed to complete all trainings, front end, what next now? Front end journey does not learn. I personally, I still take tutorials. I take tutorials. I still study tutorials. I still watch videos. So I recommend you, even though you are working or anything, don't stop watching videos. Don't stop a tutorial. Try to still build things. I've built massive things, I've built a lot of things, but still I still watch tutorials to build a lot of things. To build more. Okay, earlier in this class you mentioned, okay, before then, Dennis, what I would advise you is pick your hands on project and try to start building things. That's what next for you. Build things. I recommended you on front end mentor.io. Try that. Earlier in this class, you mentioned a friend that makes 300 a month. It's Upwork. It's a freelance job. Upwork, just Upwork. When good question from guide, when will you know you can apply for jobs? A very serious question. See, one thing that everybody always have is this kind of imposter syndrome. Like you don't think you are good enough. You keep doubting you are good. The moment you can say you are good enough is The moment you summon that courage and apply for that job, like I said, nobody knows. My first job, that was I got a job and I was working. I actually got a job after 6 months of training. I started Frontend in a 6 months journey. I was watching videos just for that 6 months. After 6 months, I got my first job. Another person will use 2 years. But to me, when I watched those videos, I felt I was good enough. I applied for jobs. I got internship roles. Just get a paid internship role and keep learning. Don't rush and say, I've learned for 2 years, I've learned for 1 year, I've not gotten any job and I need to just I need job I see. Okay, I would apply. But you not check the requirement. It does not really matter about those requirements. They'll just be good. Guy, you may not have all the whole experience. A senior developer does not still have all the experience. All you just need to say you are good enough is that courage. If you have that courage to say you are pushing for jobs, if you are an uncle, you're an auntie, or anybody, I can tell you, bro, you're actually good. In as much as you can actually build anything, you cannot build anything, you can build something, even though it's very little. And as a front-end developer, you know CSS to an extent, and you are sure that yes, you can browse, you have that researching skills. Apply for that job, don't worry, you surely get it, I can assure you. If you can browse and you're good at that browsing, you can get it. That job that you are looking at, that you say you don't want to like um you don't want to apply for because you feel you're not good enough. Try it and see. Okay, your question is for real learning is endless journey. My question is about next was any engagement from Zurich. Sure, let me tell you one thing. There was a website that was built by one Zurich person after he finished his internship. I've gotten other news that people who finished from Zurich got that job, like got first jobs. So the best thing you can just do is apply. You can start applying with just HTML, CSS. You can start applying even an internship role. If you are good at HTML, CSS, apply for that job. Don't wait. Apply. You meant you are watching videos without practicing and you got a job. No, why would I do that? I watched videos and I was practicing. I watched video and I was practicing. But I got the job I got, I never got it like I have a full portfolio. I only had very little. But I was confident of what I knew. I said that confidence is key. I told the last quad people that even though you are building rubbish, have that confidence in that rubbish you are building. The moment you fail to have confidence in that rubbish you are building, you can never be a good developer. Yes, confidence does not mean you should not listen to instruction or listen to corrections. Confidence means build what you are building without doubt. If you're using an H1 tag, be confident that you're using this H1 tag because you know that you are supposed to use H1 tag. If you're using a P tag somewhere, be confident that you know why you're using P tag. But the moment you lack that confidence and somebody is asking you, maybe in an interview, okay, what do you recommend us to use here? And you tell them, okay, you are recommended to use an H1 tag for this. Then they're like, why should you use an H1 tag? Then they're like, oh, okay, maybe we can actually use a P tag. A P tag should work. They will not employ you because one, their confidence is not there. You don't know what you're doing. But the moment you can tell them, even though it's wrong, but you can still almost like prove them that see it in this point of view of how I'm thinking about it, it should work. Then it will work for you. With just HTML CSS, you can apply for a job. I can assure you that if you are confident enough, you will get that job. And every other thing is something you can learn with you along the line. My first, I learned to React in a month. And when I say I learned to React in a month, don't expect me to say I know everything in React in a month. But I built my first project on React in a month. I wish I can show it. And I also appreciate the internship. It was an internship. And I appreciate that company who gave me that internship. Within my 1 month of learning React, look what I was able to build. And I know this animation, we see within that 1 month, I learned this animation. This animation took me 1 week before I could even get this animation. But what I'm trying to like derive in this thing is, you don't need to know a lot. Just keep practicing. I also learned this within that 1 month. I built this within that 1 month of me learning React. A lot of people have that different knowledge. You can take 5 months before you build this. It can take you a whole lot of time before you could actually even build something close to this. But with that confidence, you'll be able to build anything and know that you can learn while practicing. So good and fine. I'll just tell you, just keep practicing and keep learning. Keep practicing and keep learning. Learning does not stop. Apply for the job. Don't be scared. Good and fine. I think we've come to the close of our class today, and I want to know, can you start application with HTML? Okay. Okay, I think that was all for today, and we'll meet tomorrow again from 6 to 8, I presume. So, same time at that time, and good. For front-end people, you are free for next week. I don't think you have a task. Okay, this week, I don't think you have a task, but I will employ you always try to just practice what you've learned. So, okay, guys, and I still remain the normal silver coach that you know, and will always meet every time this period, and I hopefully this week we should make more. Okay, guys, thank you, guys, and bye bye.